Right now, the U.S. Supreme Court is considering a case that could allow states to establish religious charter schools. The High Court will decide whether or not to overrule Oklahoma's state Supreme Court, which blocked efforts to establish a publicly funded virtual Catholic school. This case could have First Amendment implications, specifically the part that prevents the government from favoring one religion over others. It also could impact the Free Exercise Clause, which outlaws religious discrimination. To break down this case further is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning, Jordan.
How did this case end up before the Supreme Court in the first place?
Yeah, so I think it was 2 years ago, Oklahoma's charter school board approved an application by the Archdiocese of the Catholic Church of Oklahoma City. And so the state law requires that these charter schools be non-religious in their admissions and things like that. But notwithstanding, they approved this charter school by the Catholic Church, which is clearly religious in nature. And so the Republican Attorney General for Oklahoma filed this lawsuit essentially saying, hey, this violates the First Amendment. And the Oklahoma Supreme Court agreed with them and ruled in favor of the state against the charter school. And they have now then filed with the U.S. Supreme Court that just heard oral argument yesterday.
Right. Okay. So talking about that oral argument, obviously, based off the question, sometimes we get an indication of how the justices are going to rule in this. Did we get any kind of indication like that yesterday?
I think we did, but there's going to be a question because Justice Amy Coney Barrett recused herself, and she didn't exactly say why, but there's speculation that she had a relationship with a friendship with somebody who was on the board. And so she recused herself, which a judge is supposed to do. So that means now we have, instead of a 6-3 conservative to liberal bench, we have now 5-3, correct? Well, and Justice Roberts, now he's the one everybody's watching, because if you remember when Justice Scalia died, the bench, there were only 8 justices for about a year, and Justice Roberts kind of moved himself a little more to the left, and so a lot of decisions ended up being 4-4. So here, some people are speculating that it could be 4-4, and if that happens, then the Oklahoma State Supreme Court decision will be binding.
What are the strongest arguments that came out of this case yesterday from both of the sides?
Yeah, well, the question is really, is this a public entity or not? Because the First Amendment related to religion has 2 components. So first it says free exercise, that the government can't restrict your exercise of your religion. And then it has the anti-establishment clause, which says the government won't establish or endorse a religion, even though really it's Christianity in this country. And so that's what the school board is saying, is that when they make funds available to the public, it can exclude people or groups just because of their religion. So they're saying, look, if you make this available to the public, it needs to be available to us. They're also saying that, hey, this was created by these private organizations and it's governed by an outside board. So it's not governed by the government. Now, the state, the Republican Attorney General is saying, look, the First Amendment specifically bars this, and I completely agree with that. I mean, this is really funding a private religious school. That is a violation of the anti-establishment clause. They're also saying that the school is a government entity, because there were a series of Supreme Court cases where the court made these distinctions and ruled in favor of the school. But here what they're arguing is this isn't just the state being somewhat involved. The state's completely controlling the curriculum, the funds, everything else. So because this is really a state actor, this is a violation of the First Amendment.
All right, depending on how they rule, this could have some strong implications. We'll have to see how this goes, and then we'll have to get an update from you, Whitney. Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
All right.